Alright guys, welcome back to another video of Marvel Cosmic Invasion. This time we have another really interesting topic that I feel like we can talk for hours. This is like one of the biggest things we can talk about. I'm gonna try to keep it short by doing just two for each character. So what we're gonna talk about today is the alternate costumes. So different costumes for each character, different suits. As we all know, like if you guys have played the TMNT Shredder's Revenge, every character had unique palettes, which were basically just colors. Some of them did change the character and the way it looked, but mostly was just a different color. Now, in my opinion, Marvel has so much characters with different suits and different colors, and like from one time where that character did this and one time where that character was in that movie, there's so many different costumes and alternate costumes for Marvel characters. We can say it forever. So like I said, I want to just limit this for two suits for each character. That way we can actually monitor this and try to keep it concise. Now you can join me in the comments, type whatever you want, tell me which character you think is gonna be better, which character is gonna have like more costumes. I mean, they can literally, like, Tribute Game can like go out of this way and just make like so many, but let's just keep it to two, right? So let's start it off. Let's start it off with Captain America. And I actually found myself kind of difficult, thinking about Captain America, because a lot of these suits I feel like are pretty similar, right? Most of these suits are just like different little unique stuff, so I'm not really sure. So the first one I thought is gonna be a suit that doesn't have the mask, right? I think like just having no cowl, stuff like that is always gonna be fun. Like having Steve Rogers' face as Captain America with the suit, with the face, and not with the actual mask. It's something I always find really cool, kind of like that battle damage type of feel. So I like it. I think it's gonna work. Now, personally, I think the Winter Soldier from the actual Winter Soldier movie would be really good, because it's like that black kind of color, little blue type of thing. It's really cool. I love also the design on the chest. I love the fact that it's very like unique and just awesome. Winter Soldier, I think a lot of people like this suit as well, so I feel like that's gonna be really good. The second suit is actually gonna be the first Avenger military suit. So in my opinion, kind of the modern Captain America suit. So they can kind of go around with it and do whatever they want, but just have like this more military type of suit. Have it be like Captain America, but you see like he has pouches. See things that actually help him, rather than just freaking wings. I love his classic suit, right? But you can tell it's a little stupid. That's for Captain America. For Spider-Man, now Spider-Man is the opposite of what I said about Captain America. Spider-Man has so many suits, so many throughout the years. If we even include like stuff like not Peter Parker, going like Miles Morales, there's so many. But even just Peter Parker, there's so much. I thought a lot about it, and I think the first one, it has to be there. This is like the most classic, everybody wants it. It's gonna be a symbiote suit. I think the classic black suit is always important to have with Spider-Man, right? I don't think you can go wrong with it. Everybody likes it. It's always cool to have like a an evil kind of Spider-Man. I always think it's really cool. So having a classic suit, also kind of simple, pretty much throwing off the details and just having like a bigger Spider. I think it's gonna work. And the next one, I thought about like Iron Spider. I thought maybe Scarlet Spider, but I went actually with Future Foundation. I think the white Future Foundation, I think, will go really well with the symbiote black suit. I think will work really well. Future Foundation, I always thought was really cool. I love the white on Spider-Man. I thought it was really cool. So yeah, I think that's gonna work really nicely. Next up for Venom. So Venom actually doesn't have as much suits, or at least as much iconic ones. A lot of time it's just like a different design for the same suit, But what I thought, like right off the bat, the first thing that came to my mind is the blue cell shaded one. Alright, the one that we had in the old classic, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, when he had that blue cell shaded look. I think also in a lot of like older Spider-Man games, but 100% this is guaranteed. That is something that's gonna be super classic, super retro. I want this. Alright, next up, I thought it's gonna be really fun to have kind of similar thing with Spider-Man, to have an anti-Venom suit, right? Have a white suit type of thing. I think that'll be cool. Again, I don't have much for Venom, so that's kind of what I thought about. Next up for Wolverine. So Wolverine, obviously the big one, the big elephant in the room, is going to be the classic yellow and blue. I'm kind of weirded out by the fact that they put the default suit as being the brown suit. 100% think blue, yellow is a classic color, and probably the one everybody knows. So yeah, 100% have that. Second one, I think, is kind of something similar to Captain America. Have him have a suit with no cowl. Even go for like the X-Men Origins type of look, where he has that like black or gray shirt, with the dog tag, and all that, without cowl. I think that's gonna look really, really cool. So definitely something I think they definitely should have with Wolverine, 100%. Next up is gonna be Storm. With Storm, I really genuinely just had two suits come to mind. That's like the only two suits I kind of knew about her. One of them obviously being the modern one, one, which is the black and gold one. I'm not sure if you saw it in the movies or whatever, but this is like the iconic suits, you know. You always have the white one and this one like always together, so for me 100%. And I think the mohawk look, whatever suit you're gonna have, but just like have a mohawk version of her, you know, with the hair, always iconic, you know, to have a Storm with a mohawk. I think it's awesome. Okay, now Phyla Vell, so Quasar. I don't know nothing about her. I'm just gonna put some cool designs I've seen on screen, you know, from Annihilation and from other comics that I've seen. Again, I don't personally know much about her, but I've just seen some cool stuff online. Nova is another character I don't think has a lot, so it was kind of difficult to come up with stuff. But I think with Nova, what would be really cool is actually having just different colors. I think Nova, you know, being like red, blue, green, you know, would be really cool. So for me, I think just having different colors for Nova would be really nice. You know, maybe have like a black and gold one or like a red and gold one. I don't know. They can come up with a bunch of stuff. But I think kind of what I did with Shorter's Revenge, you know, some characters just had colors. I think it's fine. She-Hulk. So She-Hulk has one suit. As soon as I saw her, I was like, wait, what about that suit, which is the overall suit, the one where it's not like just a top and a short, you know. I think it's a more iconic look to her, you know. 100% think they should have that. And second look, which I thought would be really cool, especially if we're gonna have Daredevil in the game, would be a lawyer suit, right? The business suit. I think that's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be really unique and just add a nice flair to the game, you know, like having an actual lawyer in the game, like with glasses, you know, walking around, you know, with like a book or something. That would be really cool. It would be kind of funny to have that, so I think that's gonna be really cool for She-Hulk. Next up for Rocket, obviously the first classic Guardians look. So the classic one from the comics, they kind of took the MCU version, you know, the orange one, but this classic one, the blue, definitely one that I prefer, at least, you know, sometimes. And other one I thought about be his green suit, you know, from the original mini series that he had, the first solo that he had. That's gonna be really cool, that's for sure. A Silver Surfer was interesting, you know. I thought a lot about it, and I think Silver Surfer can go with what I said about Nova, right? Just have different colors. The fact Silver Surfer is just silver, I think it would be really cool to have like different palettes, like have a Silver Surfer that's red or gold, you know, some kind, or maybe the different type of silver, you know, like chrome or like, you know, a black, you know, like a matte black. There's some cool stuff they can go with. I think it's gonna be really cool. And the last one I think would be actually really cool if they would do, but I don't think they would do that, but have him have the new look from the new Fantastic Four First Steps, the female Silver Surfer. That would be really cool if they could do that, like actually have him just literally change genders, you know, to have a female version from the movie. But I don't think they're gonna do that. I don't think it's that gonna be easy for them to do that, so I'm not exactly sure. And for the last characters we personally know about, Beta Ray Bill, the only suit I know of him that is not a suit we have in the game is the black suit from the comics, you know. And the one other suit I think would really work well and would make a lot of people happy, but I'm not exactly sure how it's gonna work. Have him have a Thor suit, right? Just literally change his character to be Thor. The same moves, don't change any moves, you know, the same abilities, but just have him be a Thor. That would be really cool, you know, because Beta Ray Bill, I think in terms of proportions in the game and the way his abilities work, is literally just Thor. And if you're not gonna add like Thor in a new DLC, which I don't think they should because they're so similar, prefer like the slot to go to someone else, just have him be a suit for Beta Ray Bill. I think that's really good. So yeah, that's basically it. So that's me. That's my 2 picks for each character. Yeah, you guys tell me in the comments. Tell me you guys what alt costumes you guys want. I know we could go for this and over, but I just wanted to make this simple and short, you know, to have it a bit more concise. But yeah, this is super fun conversation. Go ahead in the comments, talk to me what you guys want, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.